What drug did you take once and thought nope, never again? I was a senior in high school when Hurricane Katrina hit. Our house got 6 feet of water. No fun. But one night my friends and I went to the gutted out house to smoke some marijuana out of a buddy's hookah. Buddy failed to inform us he had recently glued the bowl back together. Well, the crew lost composure. 2 people fell off the dock into the bayou, and everyone started panicking that they'd get hypothermia. Not gonna happen during Louisiana summer. So people leave. I drive a group to our next spot. My Pontiac Sunfire is now a spaceship. My buddy riding shotgun started cackling hysterically, yelling about rattlesnakes in the road. We don't got those, and the 2 in the back were talking about magic or some crap. We couldn't make it to our destination due to freaking out, so went to hang out in a grocery store parking lot till we regained composure. 10/10 would not smoke glue again. That reminds me, a kid in my HS band class used to breath through his trumpet for air. It's disgusting and you're not supposed to do it. And after a while he started to have seizures, and it was caused from long-term exposure to a chemical used to oil the valves. Salvia. It's a very short trip, but I felt so much physical discomfort, like my whole body was being shoved into a box, despite the fact that I was sitting in the grass with a group of friends. Apparently it's not an uncommon side effect of the drug. Had a buddy who took it while I was trip sitting. He kept falling over and I'd prop him back up. Happened like 5 or 6 times. When he came to, he told me he thought he was pages in a book being flipped. Topamax. A drug used to treat migraines and seizure disorders. I started developing a couple of the less common side effects, including facial numbness, tingling, visual disturbances, and most concerning to me, aphasia. The scariest thing about the aphasia is that it can be permanent. Sorry, but I'll deal with the headaches, which weren't even migraines, just a stress phase I was going through, and keep my words, thanks. I have chronic migraines and get Botox for treatment now, but had to fail 3 other drugs including Topamax. It helped my headaches, but I felt like a freaking idiot because I couldn't form sentences and had horrible word recall. I also had crazy vertigo and almost fell over at my standing desk multiple times. No thanks. Luckily Botox is a lifesaver. Not a drug, but I was told I needed to take a fiber supplement, and went with the fiber pills. Then I went to the emergency room because I felt like I couldn't breathe within a few minutes of taking them. Fiber pills swell up easily with water, so they can end up feeling like they are sealing your throat. I now take fiber gummies, and actually enjoy having a little treat every day. This wholesome little gem in a comment section full of hardcore drugs. Go on with your fiber gummies, you. Oxycontin. Crap was too relaxing and didn't last long. I had knee surgery and they gave it to me for the pain. I took it for a week, and when I wasn't on it I really wanted more. After a week of it I never wanted to touch that crap again. For me, I did it once under the presumption that it was C. It was not. I had to go to the hospital. I mean, I probably didn't have to. But at the time, I had only smoked weed. I didn't know how to deal with the increased heart rate and paranoia. For my friend, diphenhydramine aka Benadryl, he is a really hardcore tripper and can handle inhuman amounts of psychedelic substances. But he said that the one drug he would never do again was Benadryl. He said that his experience had lots of spiders. For me it was coke. I'm a broke bee, so after spending $80 for maybe an hour's worth of a high, I very quickly learned why it's called blow. You can blow through it and all your cash in a few days tops. Glad I got off that crap quick. Wilder ruined me. For me it wasn't about the money. It was because I immediately knew I would be addicted for life. That crap is freaking awesome. And that's the reason it was one and done for me. It's been almost 35 years and I still remember that night like it was yesterday. Single-handedly the smartest decision I have ever made, and I was around people who continue to do it. Muscle relaxants. Worst cramps I've ever had when the drug stops working, and you realize you have cramping muscles at the soles of your feet and between all your bones. My dentist gave me Vicodin and muscle relaxers after getting my wisdom teeth removed. Everything was soft, even the air. Percocet. It was in liquid form. I can totally see how people get addicted to that stuff. It's like a few minutes later the world turns into a beautiful place and your problems disappear. That's so weird. I took Percocet for a wisdom's tooth extraction that went badly. It just made me extremely nauseous and dizzy. Benadryl. Took around 700-800 milligrams, like 25 or 30 pills, a while ago to trip. Not a good recreational drug. It's like how people who don't do drugs imagine acid to be like. I'd actually vividly see things and people that weren't there. I'd see people come in the room I was in and sit next to me on the couch, and I'd start having a conversation with them, only to blink and have them disappear. I'd get up and start filling up a cup of water and bam, it'd be back on the couch, never having gotten up. I don't remember most of the night, but my friends said I was just in a complete different world. They had some funny stories from it though. Apparently at one point I pulled my pants down and just said ants in my pants. Holy freaking crap, dude. That's a lot of Benadryl. And I mean a lot. If I remember right, you can trip on half of that or less. Jesus. Check a ride next time. Surprised you didn't end up in the hospital or something. The two thing I've taken from this thread is that Salvia is the worst drug out there, and that realizing you want more of a drug is instantly the reason to never do it again. I took a high quality concentrated Salvia and some dirt quality back when I was a teenager in the late 90s. Went fine for me, just weird. I think I did chip a tooth sitting down too fast, though. My dad gave me a Dilaudid he had left over from his hip surgery because I had a sore neck. I felt an almost overwhelming sense of euphoria. I knew I could never take another one. I've taken prescription Adderall nearly my whole life, and I wanted to test all these people who told me you're just taking prescription M. To say the least, I don't do either of them anymore. M can be prescribed. It's called Dissocyative. The prescription dose is something like 1/100, the street dose though. Trazodone for sure. I was in the hospital to get my heart fixed up and was having a hard time falling asleep. To this day no one is sure exactly what happened, if I was given too much or just had a bad reaction or what, but I remember laying there and thinking something wasn't right. I got up and just kinda wandered around trying to find a nurse. I was freezing but pretty sweaty too and couldn't really see or hear so well, and you know that feeling when you bang your funny bone? My whole body felt like that. The weirdest part was I kept realizing, oh man, I'm in trouble, and would start to panic, but then a second later I'd sorta forget and feel so serene. I remember a nurse running towards me, but she looked like she in slow motion, like we were underwater kinda. And I knew I had something really important to tell her but couldn't remember what it was. All I could think was how beautiful everything was. How the light was catching her hair and her sneakers squeaking across the floor sounded like a symphony. I remember smiling at her and just kinda slumping against the wall, and then everything went dark. I woke up hooked up to a bunch of monitors with a lot of worried faces standing around. My blood pressure had dropped down to nothing, and if they hadn't found me when they did, I probably woulda died. 6/10 experience. It was very beautiful, but they made me chug so much yellow Gatorade, and to this day that stuff makes me gag. I probably woulda died. 6/10 experience. The incongruity cracked me up here. Xanax. Took a bar at a friend's house. All I remember was watching Game of Thrones at a friend's house, then next thing I know I'm at my apt and it's a day later. Wasn't a bad experience for anything, it was just alright and felt like a waste of time. Plenty of better drugs out there. That stuff is the devil. I used to like taking it before going to work. You blink an eye and your shift is over. That fake weed stuff that was around a lil while back. Thought I was going to die. So hot. My sister found me naked, passed out in the bathroom with my face against the bottom of the toilet. This really bothered me. I'm not a germaphobe but rather germ aware. Bath salts. I had been told it was MDMA. It looked and tasted, and originally felt like MDMA, for the first 12 hours. The next 48 hours, when I was still high as a kite, I thought I was never going to come down. One of my pupils was highly dilated and the other wasn't. Thankfully, I was working a solo shift at a tiny cafe in a student library when I went back to work on the third day, and only had to deal with like 4 people the entire day. I legit thought I broke my brain and was okay with it because I was just continuously rolling without the major side effects. Problem was, I couldn't sleep. I think I was awake for 4 days straight before I passed out from exhaustion, and then the nightmarish experience this had caused began to wind down. I tested the rest I had and found it was bath salts, and actually swore off doing drugs. Been clean since, over 6 years now. I did LSD twice a couple years ago. The first time was awesome and the second time was also awesome, but since then I just don't want to do it anymore. It's weird, but I just don't. Even though I had very positive experiences with it, I just don't want to do it again, ever again. I'm not sure why, but it doesn't really bother me. If you're wondering, I waited about 2 months or so to do my second trip. But dextromorphin is something I did one time and will never touch again. When I had NHS, I was a bit of a fiend and I went to the Walmart to get cough syrup off the shelf. Delsim Orange. I did it with 3 other friends and it fricked all of us up. We couldn't walk right. Like it felt as if our legs were lagging behind our brain by a couple seconds. Eventually I threw up like 4 times. Don't remember if they did, but I did. The euphoria was weak AF and the trip was really weird. Most of them, other than high-grade pot, most give me a dissociative feeling that I hate. Even prescribed painkillers, I stay on them for as short of a time as I can stand. I was given fentanyl in a hospital setting for a lung procedure. They make you black out and go into your lung. I never had a bad experience, but I can see why people get addicted to it. I was euphoric and somebody let me go shopping. I bought all these blue dress shirts that didn't fit, like $100 worth. I felt like I was on cloud 9 for hours. There is a disturbing lack of mephedrone in this thread, or maybe I'm the only idiot who got strung out on it. For the uninformed, mephedrone is better known as bath salts, good luck powder, etc. The people mentioning imagine that multiplied by about 1000. I've used every drug imaginable intravenously, and good luck powder definitely takes the cake. Immediately after injection, it felt like there was a beehive in my brain. It was so loud I had to pull my car over and put my hands over my ears. The teeth clenching was so tight I cracked multiple teeth over a 6-month binge. I didn't eat anyone's face, but my hallucinations were definitely out of control after a few days with no sleep. Celebrated 8 years clean the 10th of March. Frick mephedrone. Salvia. 100%. I love drugs. I'm not addicted. I have a good job. 9-5. Unioned. Pension. Interacting with the public daily. Etc. Only indulge in hard stuff every few months or weeks. Etc. Never done anything intravenous but have snorted coke. Tried oxydialidine pins, Vicus. Acid. Shrooms. Nitrous. Molly. By far my fav besides random psychedelic experiences. Just because it's consistently positive. 2C1. JWH. And others I am sure I'm forgetting. But fricking Salvia, man. The only time I've ever taken a drug and just completely lost touch with reality. Absolutely no sense at all. I've tripped shrooms to the point where I've sat for 2 hours in a field staring at a concert or my eyelids. Those 5 minutes on Salvia take the cake. To start, I took a hit, inhaled and held as told, and literally my vision shook for a few seconds and then I was gone. My friends rapidly shifted into colors and the room quickly disappeared. Have you seen Stranger Things when Elle is in the void? It's like that but all at once. Then I came into a scene. I was floating except I wasn't. I was on tracks. And quickly I realized I was a train. Going through a field, hills to my right and valleys to my left. I was approaching a tunnel. I could see all the way through, and I could feel the tugging behind me. I was pulling along my friends. We were experiencing the journey together along the railroad ride, zooming along at top speed, but then we went through the tunnel. It was brick, short, and on an L curve. I was the lead train. As we went in, I realized I was a red train piece, and my friends were green, yellow, and blue, respectively. As we entered the tunnel, I slowly turned and started to become the brick wall. At the halfway point, I could finally see my friends, and they were suddenly the train, continuing, and I was morphing into the red brick wall. All of a sudden I wasn't the leader, I was being left behind. Now, I was a brick, the tunnel, my face perfectly at the 45-degree angle halfway through this tunnel, and there went my friends, chugging along, following the tracks, and leaving me behind. I froze. I had no choice, I was a brick tunnel after all, and felt a sense of panic. As I did, I crap you not, my vision peeled back to reality, like a goddamn screensaver. At one point I could clearly see half of the room around me with my friends sitting on a college dorm bedroom floor and the other half them floating away as train pieces. Reality came diagonally, and as if my vision was perfectly rectangular, from one corner to their other. That was 10 years ago and I still remember the experience vividly to this day. Definitely don't need to try that again, though I might at some point. Did acid once. Was on edge and slightly uncomfortable most of the time, but it was still overall enjoyable. Then a friend who was also tripping with us started to have a bad trip and it was really difficult to not lose it myself. Felt like I was very close to losing control. Thankfully everything ended up fine, but there's no way I'm doing it again unless I have access to Xanax. Kills a trip in 20-30 minutes. I think I got one that will top anybody here. Datura. It's the most evil freaking plant in the world. I actually took it thinking it was morning glory. Internet was not nearly as prevalent back then. These days I would just Google it. It's not like tripping on anything else, as it's not a psychedelic or even a dissociative like PCP or ketamine. It's a deliriant. A whole nother ballgame. On mushrooms or ketamine, you know you are tripping. You know all the crazy crap going is because of a drug. On Datura, it's hard to remember you even took a drug. You would get these moments of clarity, like the drug completely went away for a few minutes, then go right back into it again. Some of the crap that happened. I accidentally drank laundry detergent because I confused the cap for my drink. I talked to this girl on the phone only to realize I had no phone in my hand and that my phone was in fact on the other side of the room, and then I did it again literally like 30 seconds after realizing I wasn't talking to anybody and the phone wasn't in my hand. People I knew kept appearing out of nowhere and it didn't seem weird to me at all. Literally my best friend at the time was just chilling in the shower with me and that didn't register as weird. Apparently at some point I asked my mom to smoke a bowl with me. I pee all over multiple bathrooms in multiple houses. I guess this stuff messes with your bladder or something. It was completely uncontrollable. Like literally pee all over walls and floors. And my little brother keeps telling me that I kept asking him to play a video game with me that does not exist. I don't remember that all. In fact, I don't remember 90% of what happened. The next day I had to go school. I literally couldn't read. I would look at the page and the words just made no sense. It looked like gibberish. This prompted me to go to the nurse and just tell her I needed to go home and I couldn't explain why. In fact, I am pretty sure I just told her I need to get the frick out of here and that somehow worked. But not without calling my probation officer down to the office first. They could tell something was up, but they could p-test me all they wanted since there's no way in a million years they would ever think to test me for this stuff. That's if a test even exists for it in the first place. After that they sent me home. I didn't feel fully normal again for about 2 more days after that. Edibles. Took 2 many gummies to calm me down before getting a tattoo. They didn't know I had taken them of course, so when I went grey after not really breathing effectively for a few minutes all I heard was breath. Mom, we're going to give you something. I thought they were going to Narcan me, so I spoke up. They gave me orange flavored glucose tablets instead, which I must say is a 10/10 snack when you're toasted. Let me preface by saying I was an idiot. I am very aware of this. Do not try this at home. It's not even the most dangerous drug nor hardest I ever tried. You can legally buy it if you're 18. I was 16 and stole it. Me and my friends stole a bunch of Dramamine, like 12 bottles. This was before they put them behind the counters. Well, our dumbasses all took at least 18 pills each and tripped balls. Scary monster filled balls. It was awful. My friend got arrested. I almost did. I thought my car got stolen and called the police. Spoiler alert, it didn't. It was horrible. It was one of the worst nights of my life. It was Halloween like 2010 and I walked 3 miles in the dark dressed as Snooki from Jersey Shore. I was so high and scared I was seeing some weird crap and people. My friends and family kept appearing. It was the worst. When I finally made it home, the police got there because my dumbass called them because, like I said, I thought my car was stolen. I got lucky. They thought I had dented it and got scared. Instead of being high as a freaking kite, I got off with the cops, not with my dad. My dad and uncle had both done the whole Dramamine high thing in their youth, so I was grounded for a fat minute. crack. I smoked crack once, albeit inadvertently. Long story short, trying to find weed during a dry spell and was in my car driving with a dealer in the passenger seat and he sparked up what looked like a bowl in my peripherals. It was pouring rain and I was on the highway. I immediately asked for a hit and he said, "Nah white boy, I see you're a soldier and this crap will frick you up." I was a soldier at the time and said frick it, it's just weed. He laughed and held it up to my lips and lit it for me as I drove. I ripped it hard and long and glanced down midway into this monster hit and it was a big pen with a thimble melted onto the end of it and there was a fat white rock in it. What scared me the most was how freaking good it made me feel. I felt as if I was floating 20 feet above my car watching me drive my car, speeding down the highway. I also got the biggest, best feeling boner I've ever had. Which was awesome until he tried to grab my dong and say how good gay crap felt while high on crack. 0/10, will never do again. LSD. It's an incredible drug for many people but unfortunately, I had a bad time. Some parts however, were very fun and memorable. However, due to the amount of anxiety I felt, there's no way I'm dropping acid ever again. To quote Alan Watts, when you get the message, hang up the phone. Yes, same here. I keep hearing how LSD is great and fun and everyone should try it to expand their consciousness or something. But when I tried it I was so anxious the whole time. I mean the visuals were kinda cool but I just wanted it all to end after the first 10 minutes. Psychedelics are not for me I guess. Ecstasy. Turns out it was laced with something, most likely fentanyl. Lost feeling in my legs, couldn't keep my eyes open and was in excruciating pain. Once my friends realized I was being serious and overdosing they took me to the hospital. I swore to never take a pill again after that. I was only 17. I struggled with other drugs and was an addict. I just celebrated 2 years of sobriety from drugs this month. Well done. You climbed a mountain that most people don't know even exists. Acid. Only tried it once and I was basically trapped in my own head for almost 10 hours. I tried to let my friend know something was wrong but couldn't speak. It was absolutely terrifying. I'm done with mushrooms too. My first 2 trips were absolutely incredible, lots of fun, but ever since then I get violently sick when I eat them. The last time I was coughing and dry heaving so much I started spitting up blood. Tripping's just not for me. You can make shroom tea by heating the magic mushrooms in water first. The psilocybin will dissolve in water and you drink it to get high. The mushroom plants make people's stomachs upset and this isolates the trip without the nasty side effects. Nutmeg. I laughed hysterically for 8 hours then had 8 hours of intense gas pain. So 50% bad, but that 50 was so bad. Corisodin. It's a cough medicine for people with heart issues that comes in little red tablets, also called red devils. My boyfriend at the time enjoyed rob-freeing with it and one evening I decided to give it a try. I found out that evening that my lifelong aversion to cough syrups is actually an allergy, and I spent the next 8-10 hours vomiting and hallucinating in my best friend's bubblegum pink room. Never again. For anyone curious, every time I've taken any kind of cough syrup, I unfortunately have that same stomach reaction. When visiting some of my husband's family for the first time, I came down with a head cold and in desperation took a dose of the yellow stuff. I was then sick with a head cold and vomiting for the entire day. Honestly, Propylhexedrine inhaler. It's a menthol inhaler you gotta eat insides of. The drug is like dirty MDMA, but it's legal to buy an inhaler, since most folks would eat cotton soaked in menthol oil. I was gonna say this if no one else had. An absolute garbage experience. Peyote. Only bad trip I ever had. I felt like I had ingested something that wasn't meant for me. Being a white guy, kept seeing people hiding just out of sight. When I would turn to look at them they would duck back around a corner or couch. See people crawling through windows out of the corner of my eye. I felt like Native American spirits were there to frick with me and punish me for eating a sacred plant. Felt wrong the whole time. Never had any issues with any other psychedelic, even under the most stressful situations. But for some reason peyote got me all wrong. Probably your subconscious feeling guilty. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.